Haring was an American pop artist whose pop art emerged from the New York City graffiti subculture of the 1980s. He was raised in Pennsylvania, and he developed a love for drawing at a very early age, learning basic cartooning skills from his father and from the other popular culture around him, such as Dr. Seuss and Walt Disney. Haring's popularity grew from his spontaneous drawings in New York City subways. His drawings were chalk outlines of figures, dogs, and other stylized images on a blank black advertising spaces. After gaining public recognition, he created colorful large-scale murals. He produced more than 50 public works of art between 1982 and 1989. Many were created voluntarily for places like hospitals or daycares or schools. Today, he is most well remembered for his dancing figures. These figures are going to inspire our project today.
All right, students, we just learned about Keith Haring. Now we are going to turn Keith Haring's signature people into our names. Now you get to decide, is it going to be your first name? Is it going to be your last name? Is it going to be your nickname? You get to pick. I have this little idea sheet for you to help you figure out how to turn those Keith Haring people into funky letters to make your name. Now, I have this here. You can look off of it to help you, or you can make your own. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. As long as it looks like a letter and it's incorporating Keith Haring's people, you can make it differently than I made mine. Okay, so let's talk first. What I like to do is figure out first how many letters are in my name. So I'm gonna do my last name, which is Lumpkin. So I like to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I like to find the letter that's in the middle. For me, that's my letter P, okay? I like to start by drawing that letter in the middle so I know exactly how much space I have for the rest. If I start with my L and I just work my way this way, I so often end up running out of space for my last couple letters, right? But starting in the middle kind of helps you plan. You're like, all right, well, here's the letter in the middle, and now I only have this much space left for my K-I-N and this much space left for my L-U-M, right? So I know a lot of you will ask, well, what happens if my name has an even amount of letters? Well, my first name is Victoria, and it does have an even amount of letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I do is I find the middle space. So for me, that's between the T and the O. And when I'm starting, I find the middle, and then I start with either the T or the O first. I would probably start with the O because that's just me. And I just make sure, here's the center, and when I'm starting my O, I make sure to put that just to the right of the center. And then when I'm doing my T, I do that just to the left of the center. And then I go on with the rest of my letters. So like I said, I'm gonna start with the letter P. Another thing that I found out that kind of helps me is just super lightly, just really, really lightly, spacing out how much space I have for each letter. I'm just kind of making these little rectangles so I know, okay. And it doesn't have to be exact, but you at least know to kind of stick to this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Little boxes. I don't know if you can even see these little lines. I just drew them so when I'm drawing my L, I know I need to stay pretty much within this space for my U, and so on, right? If you go a little bit outside, that's usually okay, but just make sure that you're kind of staying within that so then you definitely have enough space for all your letters. Okay, so like I said, I always like to start with my middle letter, so I'm going to start with that letter P, and I have my letter P right here. And for some reason, I also always like to start with their head when I'm making these little Keith Haring people, because then I kind of know where the rest of everything should go from there. You can see I'm already going a little too wide. I should skinny this up a little bit. Make sure you're drawing lightly, so if you make a mistake, you can erase. I've drawn that super lightly, so it might be hard for you to see on the video, but in just a moment, I'm gonna go over all my pencil lines with a Sharpie. So I've started with that letter P. Now it's time for my letter K, which is about here. I also try really hard to keep my letters about the same height. Just so everything looks really nice and neat. All right, got my letter K. Time for my I. All right, and then my N, which is definitely a tricky one. It will be hard to kind of fit in this space, but I think I did a good job leaving enough space. All right, I think I did pretty good keeping that in that space. It went off the page a little bit, but that's okay. All right, so now I'm ready for my M, which is also kind of a big tricky letter, so I want to start with that one so I make sure that I have room for it. All right, and last but not least, I have the letter L. All right, guys, it is time for me to go over all my pencil lines so you can see them a little bit better on the video with my Sharpie here. All right, so I've gone over all of my pencil lines with my Sharpie. It's looking really nice. I like to go back and erase any of those pencil lines I can still see, just to keep everything looking super nice and clean. That looks amazing. All right, now we're gonna grab our rulers or some kind of straight edge. And under our name, we're going to draw a line with that Sharpie, and over our name we're going to draw a line with that Sharpie. So this kind of closes off that space like that. Then I have this other idea sheet. It has all kinds of fun Keith Haring drawings that you can use to fill up your background. These are all drawings that are inspired by Keith Haring that would be a great fun addition to your background. Now, do you have to draw these? No, they're here to give you ideas. You can draw these or you can come up with your own really fun Keith Haring inspired drawings for your background. So I'm just gonna jump right in with my Sharpie. Of course, if you would prefer to draw your background pictures with your pencil first, that's totally fine. I'm gonna jump right in with my Sharpie. And I always like the little dogs, so I'm probably gonna draw some of those. I like the little spaceships. All right, so I filled up my background with all my fun Keith Haring inspired drawings. Now I still do have a little bit of empty spaces, so what I like to do is just go through and add little squiggles or zigzags to fill up my space. So anywhere I see empty white space, I'm just adding some little squiggles. All right, guys, now it's time to add color to these. Make sure you are incorporating Keith Haring's style and making them really, really nice and colorful. Filling in your spaces completely, no scribbling, don't leave any white spaces. Let's get started. All right, guys, there is my finished project. I love it so much. It's so bright, it's so happy, just like Keith Haring's artwork. I love all the Keith Haring inspired drawings in the background, my happy fun name. I'm seriously so excited to see how you guys finish yours up. And make sure when you're coloring that you're filling your spaces completely, no scribbling. You can see how awesome they look when you completely fill your spaces with all these fun colors. Good luck, guys.